There we go. So yes, I'm here with Marcus Dunstan, the director of what is the title? Is it hashtag Amfad, All My Friends Are Dead? Or is it
Thank you.
all my,
Yes,
yes.
you just nailed it. Thank you for saying so because, all cards on the table, there's some other movies media that have that title or have a title close to that or a pop song that's close to it or a punk song that's close to it. So to set us out from the pack and to also underscore the social media theme of this, hashtag AmFed, all my friends are dead. And then we thought like, oh, if we're so bold and maybe we add a little red to the hashtag, it'll be a slash tag because we are a slasher murder mystery coming to punch your eyes.
So you know what's interesting about this movie is I'm a huge jazz fan, and I liken this movie to just sort of bebop, where it's just going all over the place. That's not a negative. I think that's a positive because there's so many tones being thrown about that you, as a viewer, you really have to process, and you are able to process what this all means at the end. Was that your intention as far as getting the tone in and not playing it safe as far as your aesthetic for this film?
So we had the great fortune of premiering in Tribeca. And Tribeca, they are sent so many hopeful entries. Well, we had hopes as well. And it all started with Josh Sims and Jessica Sarah Flom's screenplay, which had these twists, that had these voices, that had these concepts, that had a particular squirrel. You're like, how do we protect that? Well, we protect it by going for broke. Everybody has to just somehow do their best and be able to be nimble with all these tones. And and if I can do one thing and cheerlead an absolutely optimistic environment on a set, keep things absolutely anything about stressing of the clock or whatnot, all right, I'll whisper it if we absolutely have to. But otherwise, when the glass is looking at you of these cameras, this is a place where we push every scene in every direction. And this cast, led by Jade Pettyjohn, a North Star if there ever was one, was so nimble with tone. Why? She is somebody that walked into a room as well as JoJo Siwa. How many people in their early 20s already have 15 years of experience? And then, wow, the accelerants were added. Jennifer Enns, Julian Haig, Justin Derrickson, Cardi Wong, Ali Fumiko Whitney, uh, Jack Dope Smith. All these folks instantly became this group of old friends, maybe frenemies with dark secrets, and that tone had a chance. So now I'm thinking about it. All right, I have to think about this movie also as we're going along, due to resources and time. From a post point of view, how are we going to start the Richter scale of this tone? This is where I have to give a giant beaming hug to Andrew Coots, our editor. Andrew was an editor on one of the most complicated Saw films, and that would be Saw 6, where he worked with Kevin Greuter. If it weren't for Kevin Greuter, I would not be a part of this movie. Kevin had to, he was the director on this, but had a commitment to Saw 10 that left a vacancy. He nominated me, hence I am here. And wow, I end up getting to work with Andrew Coots. So now I know maybe that ending can take these slices of all the other tones we've had. And I know this is a very long-winded answer, but this is the true answer. A lot of it was hope leading up to the chance, like everybody, we're going to try and we're going to even be reckless as possible with finding the best laugh. And then I'm going to be as reckless as possible with trying to push where I know they want us to be rated R, but I'm going to try to push to get us into that NC-17 unrated. And then director of photography, Andy Hodgson, let's push the lighting. So this is from the realm of the Italian horror cinema when we go in there. And then everybody, if we just push, 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 and we get loud, then when you're hopefully will be considered to play on a big screen. Theaters, do we have a chance for theaters? Yes. And in an era where you can make a great doggone movie, but a studio might be like, delete. Or you can have a $135 million movie with an Oscar nominee. Yeah, we're going to put that on your phone. Tribeca's like, guess what? You're going to play in a theater. And the cast showed up. And they drove in from Canada. They came in from the West Coast, the East Coast. We had one person, Fiona Higgins, flew all the way in, diverting a trip from Italy and showed up. Because that was our hope. That whatever we were going to do with all this pushing, may it be possibly rewarded with a chance on the silver screen. And we turned that silver screen red for 3 sold-out shows at Tribeca, and we get to be in some theaters this August, August 2nd, and we'll be on demand so you can see it at home on your beautiful pristine thing there. So yes, Thank you. If we hadn't taken all those risks, we wouldn't have had any of these rewards. And that's courtesy of the cast, the script, and you for getting the word out. And I've got one giant request. If this passionate sermon has convinced you to see this in the theater or see it at home, stay through the credits because we didn't even give up then. No, we are twisting like a pretzel the entire time to entertain you. Thank you.
That was amazing. Amazing dissertation. I think I've been doing this for 30 years. This is probably number one with a bullet,
Thank
in my
you.
opinion. But by the way,
Thank you.
so here's the thing. On a very superficial level, they're going to look at the casting of JoJo, and this movie is sort of about the destructiveness of social media influences, that whole kind of environment. But I think without giving too much away, JoJo's character ends up being sort of an emotional center of this movie.
Yes.
And can you speak to that? Because I thought that was a little bit really cool, meta, resonant, and cool on your part.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that is all courtesy of JoJo. And JoJo, and really, I want to say to Jade Pettyjohn, those two acted together in School of Rock, the Nickelodeon show. And so to have them back together, they picked up a rhythm and a friendship. And then I knew only of JoJo courtesy of Jessica Schwartz. Jessica Schwartz is an executive at Roundtable. And it was Jessica's idea, like, we can try to get JoJo. I think this is an important part. Well, I knew about the social media imprints. I knew some footage of this show. I knew this is someone who can dance, who can perform, that really is a juggernaut. And the one thing I did see was a video, and it was of her. I think they were shooting a reality show in New Zealand, and it was one where you kind of like have to. It's half survival, half endurance. And then I saw a young kid sitting atop a glorious creation of rock, sky, cloud, saying, I've been in a bubble. I want out of this bubble. I want to be pushed. I want to feel the life outside of all the pressures of everything else. And I'm paraphrasing. Well, that person showed up to our set. And for a wonderful day where only obligated for 10 hours, JoJo Siwa gave 13. And in those critical, every second was spent going, 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 going. And we wanted it in the intent of the screenplay. The character of Colette is this heart of this movie. And it's like, we need the heart. If we can get the heart, we are different. We are horror with hope. We are horror with heart. That is a big deal. And it all rode on the capable shoulders of JoJo Siwa. So now what I love about what JoJo has done as a performer, as a social media entity, as someone who's amassed so very many millions and millions of followers, this will surprise those people because this is another side to a very capable, gifted performer, actor, entertainer. And I am so eager for that to happen.
Well, because you're an experienced filmmaker, so when you're editing the project and you're looking at either your dailies or the final footage, how great, not patting yourself on the back, but just knowing that you're collaborating with people like Jade or Jennifer. They really, with respect to your ensemble, they really pop out in this narrative. What's it like to know that you're actually sort of there on the ground floor to see them progress because they do such great jobs as being sort of almost co-leads in your movie. They switch back and forth, and I think they do such a great job. Can you speak to their talents and how excited you are that you're part of their journey?
Well, this was my second run at an ensemble. So with the Blumhouse Unhuman, I had an ensemble, and that was a one where we had to keep so many secrets in that movie, but the secrets were also hidden with adoration, friendship, humor, and a theme of bullying. But what I liked about that, and what I liked about going back to what Josh and Jessica did, is okay, we were making this murder mystery. And what the murder mystery means is you need acreage of character development time to maybe cast suspicion, to maybe develop why this person would be asking for it, or why they would maybe have vengeance in their heart, or why they might just be straight up homicidal. You need these little moments to give us doubt, to give them extra shadows. And you end up getting character development. You just end up with these moments. So it was nice to say that once this beautiful cast showed up, a lot of that we were inventing along the way. It was all there in a sense of writing where it had to end up. But wait a minute, we can tell another story in every scene, and that's the story in the subtext. So it will almost be as if we shot one version of the scene where it was dialogue and it was about the information of the dialogue and whatnot. Then there'd be another interpretation of the scene where it's about what Jennifer Enns is looking at when she's staring at the character Sarah, played by Jade. It was the eye hockey going on and what the real intent was behind some of these words. And then with the character of Mona, once again played by Jennifer, this was somebody who is so loud in that the I'm supposed to be the one you might hate. But then when you understand that that is also built on a bridge of ice,
Yeah.
if Jennifer didn't have the dramatic chops underneath that and she hadn't done a horror movie prior, it was almost like then please don't think I'm just doing a horror movie because we're not making just a horror movie. Today it might be humorous, tomorrow it might be dramatic, the next day melodrama, the next day thriller, the next day suspense. Let the horror show up when it does. The horror is merely the punctuation of your character arc. Everything else, you have a chance. You are living in every other genre of every movie until your arc ends, and then maybe, hopefully, if we hit stick the landing, well, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're going to outsmart the killer. We've got surprises. Stay to the credits.
Mark, so the way you're actually analyzing your film, and maybe I'm overshooting here, is that one of the reasons why you're a successful writer? Because that's how you approach your respective projects. I'm after this interview, and when I have time during the week, I can't wait to watch your collector films, and then I think the trilogy is gonna you're gonna get into production. You can talk about that in a second, but should I expect layers behind your projects, and is that why that has made you a very successful writer and filmmaker?
Well, thank you for including my name in the same sentence as the word successful and all that. That means a lot. Because I think I work with Patrick Melton. We've worked together for over 20 years. We were both from Illinois, both worked at movie theaters in Iowa City, Iowa, both ended up in the same ramshackle apartment building in Hollywood, and both elected on his DOS computer, which we had to turn off every 20 minutes because it would overheat. We decided to try to write something, and we could write faster than it could word process. And I think whether it's said aloud or just internalized, we've always felt like we're still there. So thank you for saying success. I almost want to be like, yeah, 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 okay, great. But you keep going forward, like keep punching forward. And so in writing, I thought, well, it's such an isolated experience, but yet it isn't. That's when I'm talking to my friends, my family, the people I've met along the way, and they're all in this. They're all in everything we do. That interaction in the elevator with somebody who might just be having the roughest day, but is such in a moment a stunning prick. You're like, oh, that's research. That's great. Can I just and what do you think of oh, great, got it. Wow, that was a great line. Like all of these people are reflections of our time outside of the isolation cave of that process. So then when you get a chance to be on the other side of that paper, and now you're with a group of strangers who hopefully quickly become old friends, you get to bring your friends to life again. And in the case of this one, in this movie, Peter Giles gets to play that stunning, gleaming silver bullet prick. And I love writing lines for Peter that are so offensive. He's the nicest person ever. He gave me a hat that has the meditation on it. Like this isn't a good person. And yet I love his voice. He's the voice of Fox Sports. So when you hear like the Rams versus the Bears, that's him.
Oh.
And to have him say these offensive lines, I just love it. And that's I think all of that goes to the alchemy of like what are we doing and how are we doing, and the if the result is gets to be seen, celebrated, and we get a chance to do it again, that's the goal. And I always want to take my friends and my family with me.
Marcus, final couple questions is, what makes an effective director as a leader? Because no matter what production you're in, no matter what location, they're all eyes are looking at you. Everyone's stressed out. Probably the person who's the most stressed out is the director because he or she is pretty much in charge of everything. Well, what's the key to be successful and not be a failure and actually get the stuff off the ground successfully?
I think you really if the number one responsibility in your heart is to be a social lifeguard, so everybody feels that they're in an environment where they can do their best. If they feel a pressure to guess what you think is awesome or blah blah blah, no, it's going to be like AI trying to guess what your life is going to be. AI will do an impression of everything that's come before at this stage in it. At some point, I'm sure it will become sentient and tell me how to live my best. But in the meantime, it's a conglomeration of other things. Where in this case, no. If I do my job right, everyone feels comfortable, confident, and celebrates the chaos that like I've been on sets where we've had to duck and cover for tornadoes. And when you're with the people that look at each other and go, this is awesome. And you laugh like I could be in a cubicle. And I am that person that used to be in a cubicle. So to be out in the wide open, creating with friends, with family, with whatnot, I want people to feel that way. I want people to take a soul photo every time we're together and be like, for someone, this is going to be 91 minutes that begins and ends, and that's that. For the rest of us, there's a year and a half on the other side of the glass that we spent working on it, bonding, laughing. This is our life experience. This is our postcard version, is the movie. The rest is our book. And that's what I hope. And I do want to say, like, I just found out now it's so wait, it was yesterday, it was less than 24 hours, less than 48 hours ago. The rights to the collector were freed up after 5 years of legal untangling. So the collector's coming back, a burning freight train of terror coming for your mind.
And how far, I mean, is there something in your desk? Is there a screenplay? Do you get emotional? Do you start wiping your eyes when you hear the good news about that?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I get misty at commercials, you know. I do that. I think that's something where I used to not. I used to but then you know what? I actually spent a lot of time with this really cute rescue puppy, and then all of a sudden everything started to make me get misty. So I'm like, oh, you know, yeah, it happened. The heart kept growing, you know. Yes. So I love all that. I mean, it's all stimulus. It's all good. And when a moment like this happens, where after 5 years of hoping, there it is, and it's not something I could have done on my own. It's not something an army of us could have done. It was one person, Todd Lundbaum, who diligently worked to free and liberate that, and that's going to give us a chance. That's going to give us the acreage. That's going to give us the palette to go back in and to circle all the way back to the beginning of this. I want to bring all my friends, the living, the dead. I want to bring all my family. But I want to bring all of them in that imagination. And this time, the conductor of the train is off kilter. The passengers will all be terrified. The destination is into sheer darkness, and the acceleration as fast as we can go. But
Marcus, thank you so much for your time. And my only advice to you is, even though you're very busy, you should do your own podcast. You are a very good storyteller, so you
oh,
should
dude, thank you, bless you. God goodness.
get your friends on your own podcast, and I'll definitely be listening. I'll be your first subscriber. So,
Oh, hey, thank you very no, thank you for your time. This movie only exists because you're shining a light on it. Thank you.
take care. Talk to you soon.
Take care.